with Nikki Dekeuster. Did I get that right?
Dekeuster, whatever.
Potato, potato, tomato, tomato.
I respond to all of them. Hey, you.
Hey. I mean, look at my name, right?
Yeah,
So
I didn't even want to attempt it the other day.
it's like I'm scared.
It's not even really that bad when you break it down, but it's
No.
intimidatingly long.
Yes. It actually, it's very phonetic by and large. The first part always gets people, but besides that, it's good.
Whereas, like mine, the EU suggests Dekeuster or Dekeuster, but then there's parts of my family that pronounce it as Dekeuster, and that's the ones that I'm involved with. So
Raised you? It's all good.
And I kind of like that it subverts expectations.
Oh well, hey, that's what fiction's all about at the end of the day.
Yes. Let me see if I can get me a little bit more in focus here.
That's all good.
I didn't realize that this was going to be video too, so.
It's all good. Yeah. So for folks that have never seen this before, I do travel shows, which are on my Patreon first. I'm a little behind on that because of just work and interesting opportunities that have come my way in the last week or so, and I'm catching up. I wanted to catch up today, but I'm not quite 100%. Gave my kid something. I was working my side gig. It was the Calgary Flames open at night, and I walked away. It was like, I'm not 100%. Okay. Rest day today, by and large. So that's what this day is going to be.
All right.
But besides that, Patreon's where my videos, I have some, those free videos go up first. Then after that, which they're a little shorter, but they're essentially the same concept, right? Except in cool places, right? Various cool places. And then
all the cool places on the internet.
No. I mean, I literally do it in person. I've got San Diego Comic-Con stuff. I got stuff in Calgary. I got stuff in Okotoks, right? I haven't gone full travel mode yet, but that's where this podcast is going.
Okay. Where do you live now?
Calgary, Alberta.
Calgary. Okay. So Comic-Con is
quite a distance.
Cool. Quite a distance.
It was fun. Mm-hmm. It was my first years of pro there.
I've been out to San Jose before, and I did not want to leave.
Yeah.
Like the feeling of just the earth.
Yeah.
There, the ocean, the redwoods. It just, everything about it was like home.
And San Diego has everything too.
It's not the prices. The prices were not home.
the prices are home. They're like, hey, you want to come home? We will have our and we'll likely get you home. It's going to cost you. But really, if that's the worst thing about a place, it's not so bad.
Oh, the earthquakes. Wisconsin girl. Earthquakes are like too intimidating to me. Give me a blizzard. I can handle it. Just don't shake my house.
Why am I shaking my house?
While I'm in it.
Hey, man, hey, listen. There's nothing like the one thing about life, and the biggest thing I realized doing this, you're not in control of very much. So, when you think about it like that, earthquakes aren't so bad.
Yeah, I suppose you could get hit by a meteor right now doing this show live.
Yeah, it's possible. It's entirely possible. I mean, I did an interview this week where someone's literally in a bunker right now, her family, because she's in Israel right now. Oh, it was unexpected.
Yeah. A little unexpected. That's some craziness going on over there.
Yes, she's fine as of this morning. So the episode's coming up in about a couple weeks, one way or the other, on the audio. You can listen to it on Twitch right now if you want to. It's a neat conversation. Like, it's about like the big thing is, most people have an idea how the world actually works, and then you actually go out into the world, and it usually defies expectations. That's good.
Sense. I have a degree in politics, and then I still not sure I fully understand it.
Oh, politics make no sense. Actually, politics make a ton of sense. If you understand the base principle today, it's easy. There's no honesty. There's no integrity. There's no transparency. There's no accountability.
The psychopaths have risen to the top.
Yes, they have. All of them. And it doesn't really matter what party. It doesn't really matter what party you go with. It doesn't matter because they're all the same. And a lot of people will listen to that and go, "It's not true." It's like, no, it is true. Look at what they're doing.
It's the predator class. It's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what happened. Now, once upon a time, politics were about service and what it was supposed to be. All right, but that's not what it is anymore. It's a merger of corporate interests with a very specific class of people. That's it, and this is what you get.
Yeah, back when I went into politics as my major with a double major in environmental studies, I was like starry-eyed in my 20s, and I was like, I'm gonna change the world and like go into the system and figure out like what can be done to fix it, right? And I did my level best. I joined local groups and was in with the Green Party and like trying to work within the system, and I just got to see firsthand. It was a good experience.
Oh yeah, sure.
In a lot of ways, just what the corruption looks like, and it was so disgusting.
Oh yeah,
like it made me physically sick.
Yeah.
And I was you become aware that it's not for a certain type of person. At least that's the perception. And I think that probably should change. It's a bad thing that I left.
No,
I think it was good for my health, but we need people who actually care to get the reins.
Okay, so there's two ways of looking at that. There's honestly two ways of looking at that. So first is this system, as it currently stands, is not designed for people that care. So you bailing for your mental health,
it was necessary.
Was necessary. So that's the first thing. So the second thing is, okay, this system isn't working like it's supposed to on any level anymore. Just about. There's a few, like maybe some local levels that still does some things, but let's be honest, not really, right? So then you got to ask yourself is this a system I want to keep supporting? We haven't come to the point as a people yet where we go, okay, we need to change this. A lot of people are still caught up. Well, my guy is better than your guy because my guy is more likable for some strange reason. Now, again, that's where we're at. I think it's because, so I actually, like this morning before I passed out hard, I had a buddy of mine talking about the Israel bombings, right? And he's talking about like standing up to people who are saying anti-Semitic things and stuff like that. And my perspective on that is, I'm not going to change their minds. I'm not interested in changing their minds. I'm more concerned about the people suffering right now. And that's kind of where I am on this.
Yeah,
right?
Lead by example.
Exactly. That's it. That's all you can do. That's all you should do. Like, don't, like, we fight each. I have a theory. This is my theory. And this is my strange little theory about politics. We fight each other so much because I think a lot of us are afraid to know what to do next. Because I think deep down we all recognize that the system isn't working. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, where do we go from here? What do we do?
Well, I just saw a recent poll that said that like 63% of people in the US at least are ready for a third party, which is a big shift over just, even the last 20 years.
Sure. So, and that might buy an election or two. But within
that supposes that the system isn't completely rigged on the machine level, and I am
okay.
Pretty convinced that it is at this point.
Well, let's just play a very simple game, right? For the sake of argument, right? We're just going to keep it nice and level. I don't entirely disagree with you, but I can't prove it. You know what I mean? I can't prove it, right?
I can prove it county by county, like a county here and county there. But right now there isn't the aggregate data. But when you start looking at little pockets, it becomes clear that if it's good for the goose, it's probably good for the gander. It's not that much of an extrapolation. You don't have a smoking gun, but you can see the bullet hole.
Oh yeah, no, well, like I said, look, would it shock me? No. At this point, nothing would shock me. Like what I get worried about today, this is going to sound very cynical, is a politician says something I agree with. Then I'm like, what did I miss? I'm missing something here.
What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. I and again, I'm all parties.
Well,
No,
I
more about
love
the
how
randomness
like
stuff.
when you came on the green room, we talked about religion, and here I am on your
Yeah.
show talking about
Yeah, sure, whatever.
politics, which are what the two things that you're never supposed to talk about, and they're the things that I find most interesting. So, anyway,
Well,
who am I
every
anyway?
time
I haven't even introduced myself to your
well,
audience. They're like, "Who the hell is
well,
this girl?"
well, we're just talking, and we already got your name. We are, and you already are introduced, and you are introducing yourself to this audience, whether you realize it or not.
Go look me up. I'm the only Nikki Dekeuster on the internet, so far as I have been able to
So,
see.
so, so what I do usually, we have our conversation, then we get to all the promotional stuff where people can find you and stuff like that.
Okay.
I always find it's good to do at the end of the presentation, not at the beginning.
Because then people care, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In theory, if they
Well,
haven't
but again, if they don't care, then that's fine. It saves you some trouble, and it saves them some trouble too.
Mhm.
And if they do care, they're gonna stick to the end, and they're gonna find out more about the mysterious.
Well,
Nikki
yeah, and
Dekeuster.
so you can understand why I'm, if I go into politics, it's horror adjacent, which is what I write.
It's totally true. I would go see. I am actually fascinated by what people believe in too, because but politics and religion, what they have in common is people have stands on them. Whether they're an atheist, whether they're an atheist, whether they're a Christian, whether they're pagan, agnostic, whether they're Muslim, whether they're Jewish, doesn't matter. People have an opinion on how they think the world works, which is always fascinating to see. And politics is the same way, right? Politically, I'm an atheist, so it's always interesting to me. And I say it like that because, again, I trust no parties. I trust nobody in the system anymore. And that's where I'm at. Good, bad, or indifferent. And it's true up here. It's true down there. But in that space, I learn more about people, what they see, what they don't see, what they're like. I can figure out what people's blind spots are just based on, and what they believe in, just based on figuring out where they stand.
Oh. See, now I want you to psychoanalyze me here on your show.
We'll get there. We're only 10 minutes in.
Although you already did that in the green room too.
Yeah,
Think about it.
Well, this is like I interview people. Like I've interviewed like literally thousands of people.
Thousands.
I actually can say that thousands of people. Right? Yeah. So
you get to see a theme.
Well, I see stuff, right? That other people don't. I can put together connections and things like that. And it's important as a creative person that if you're gonna say something, you got to believe in something. That's just the way it is, right? So, and that's fine. And what we need to learn today more than anything else is okay. I don't think me and you see things exactly the same way. Some things we do, some things we don't. That's fine. But that's fine. I would rather live in a world where there are different viewpoints, and I welcome that kind of thing because that's how I grow, right? I don't live in an echo chamber that way. But a lot of people will be like, well, you like this guy, therefore you must be this kind of person. It's like, no, not necessarily.
It's always
right?
nice to subvert those expectations.
Well, it's at this point, and this point, at this point, it's just more about okay. People don't want to think about it. It's just easier to have that gut reaction and move on, right? So whatever idea people are enamored with, they can keep it. That's just how I see it. We've hit a point where politics has become mostly virtue signaling and not real conversation, and we're never going to change anything as long as it's that way.
Mm-hmm. So, like, people will hear that I'm into the environment and that I worked with the Green Party and stuff, and just assume that I must be against the Second Amendment, and I actually have several guns.
Yeah, exactly.
And like nothing could be further from the truth. Like I get it, I get the Second Amendment, and
yeah, no, and where you're living, you kind of need them.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I'm in Wisconsin, right? So like
yeah,
Wisconsin, guns are part of the culture.
It's also, like I said, it's necessary. If you're out, I don't know whereabouts in big Wisconsin you are, but if you're out in farmland, you got coyotes you got to deal with. You got things like that. You got to take care of yourself in the environment you're in.
Yeah.
Right. You have to be able to do that. It's just the way it is. And I'm a Canadian. There's a lot of Canadians listening to that will be like, that's not how it's like. No. It's exactly how it is. right? It's even that way up here. It's not as advertised up here, but it's that way up here too. You have a lot of people that do some basic things to protect themselves. That's what the Second Amendment is really all about.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
So
always read it.
it's the right to protect yourself. That's what it is. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of the NRA and what they've done with it. But again, that's part of a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Right. So
the money and the corruption.
That's a bigger problem. It's not about like I said, do I think there are guns that probably shouldn't exist? Sure, but they do exist and have existed for a very long time. I don't know how to fix it. So that's it, right? Like a lot of people talk about ARs, right? And I agree. I don't think that gun should exist. But the gun's 70 years old. It's older than I am. Right? There's a lot of those guns out there at this point. I don't know how to clean that up. I have no idea.
Well, Australia did like a buyback program where they were pretty generous, from what I understand. So you could get a decent amount, but you're not going to get them all.
You're not going to get them all. And also, honestly, and to be perfectly honest, all right, especially in this day and age, people are going to be a lot less trusting of that. Just the way it is, right?
Or you create a black market for the bullets, right?
Bullets are cheap to make. That's the problem.
Yeah.
they're just too cheap to make.
It is.
Right.
It's so easy.
Yeah. So it's like I said, there's not an easy solution there. You have a gun problem there. Yes. Do I have an easy solution to it? No, I don't. Because I don't know what, like, you got to do something, but no matter what you do, it's going to take years to fix it. And that's just it. Right. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. And like I said, but that doesn't mean I don't think that, again, that certain guns shouldn't exist. I don't think AR should exist. They're not necessary. Really, a house gun's all you really need. But what do I know?
See, yeah, that's open-minded.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just you have to be. Like a lot of people from a distance judge. What I've learned is that I can't walk in anyone's shoes. There are reasons people make the choices they make. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with all the choices you're going to make. I'm not going to. But that's not really it's not about me that like agreeing with you. It's about me understanding where you're coming from, right? As much as I can. Because if I understand where you're coming from, I'd be like, okay, I still might disagree. It still might be a hot button topic for me if it's something I really care about. But I also have to recognize that my way of looking at the world is only one way of looking at the world. It's not the only way. And also, I just have a tendency to believe that everybody tries by and large to do the right thing, tries to their best of their abilities. And whatever that looks like in the world, and all you can really do is wish people well.
Mm-hmm. I'd say that's fair.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Myers-Briggs personality tests?
It's interesting. I like personality tests. They're fun.
I've just started getting into that a little, not too long ago, and it's like it opens up this whole world of kind of helping me deal with problem solving and troubleshooting in my blind spot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is how they look at it and deal with it. Well, okay, let me try that and see if that works. For my particular.
I can be INTJ or INFJ, depending on the day.
Yeah, so. There's some overlap between them, but I think it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you have to, again, it's understanding, like, again, you're not perfect. You don't see everything. You can't. Right? There's no way to do that, right? So all you can do is take the information you have, make the best decision you possibly can with the information you have. And if you don't know, that's fine. Hey, I don't know. That's a good starting point, right? Ask for help, right? But that requires talking to people, right? And that's again, when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion, a lot of people are very closed off from those discussions. But I think they're the discussions we need to have, right? I think those are we live in a society with people, and whether we want to admit this or not, we have to get along on some level, which means that none of us are going to get everything we want. But that's not really the point. Can we come up with a system that by and large everybody can live with? That's what it's about.
Yeah, and I think one thing that, to kind of bring this full circle is that we're starting to realize that this lockstep on at least that the system itself is rotted and needs change. And if we can at least have a starting point there, then you can build out what that change might look like. But I think in that process, we have to push out the psychopaths. Like, they can't be involved in this. They need to have Hannibal Lecter masks put on them.
Well,
and chained away from the conversation.
The solution to them is actually really simple. Like, you add corporate laws. You make corporations susceptible to certain laws and privileges, and you put things back in check and balance again. It takes some time, but
it's going to take some non-corrupt, non-bought people to make those laws happen.
Or it's going to require radical change in the system, because the thing is, no party in power right now is going to make those changes. So one of two things is going to happen: either everybody from the outside is going to say we're going to walk away from this, which I actually could see that might be the gentle way to go, or it's just going to rot and collapse itself and everything with it, right? And that's something that I mean, look, I don't care which one you vote for. The fact is, you got Joe Biden and Donald Trump likely going to be the candidates running in the next election again, right?
Well, and you got a couple of independents too. You got Bobby Kennedy, Robert and Cornel West, and
we'll see how if they make it through the process. But let's assume, just for the sake of argument, this conversation, let's just focus on those two for the moment. They're both running again. Like, seriously, neither of them can speak coherently. They're grandpas, right? Neither of them should be running. Neither of them. I don't trust either of them to tie their shoes, let alone make decisions that impact their country. I don't. But but right. I mean, I don't know who the bigger liar between the two of them is. I mean, I can't always tell when Trump lies. All right.
Well, and Biden is basically a complete puppet. So it depends on who's pulling his strings at what time. Well, I feel like he's like Weekend at Biden's.
Pretty much.
Just a corpse held up.
Well, just the fact that okay, but they're building the wall. Okay, the thing they said never would do. They're building the wall.
Yeah. And
then they interview him. While they made this announcement, do you think the wall is going to work? He's like, Like he doesn't believe it.
As people are climbing over it, going under it.
Yeah, it's just like he shrugs, like he doesn't think so.
Yeah, so, but it satiates. It's all about that little bit of satiation for the base. It's like a little bit of chud and rotted red meat to the base is what that wall is.
It kills his credibility because he said he'd never do it. Right? It kills it. So and I'm not saying
he didn't have any credibility. I'm sorry.
So there are quite a few Americans that would disagree with that concept, right?
They're not paying attention. Right? They haven't been to his record for the past 40, 50, 60, 80 years.
Oh, no. I agree. I think he's one of the most horrible choices ever. I mean, you could make an argument who's worse between him and Trump, and it's closer than people would like to admit, right? So, right?
I think so. At least Trump is entertaining.
Kind of.
The stupid.
I mean, the scary thing about Trump is you can hear him lie. He lies so much that you can actually some of them just slip through the cracks because they overload your bullshit meter. They just overload it. He's right. He goes the other way, right? He goes, I'm gonna just lie about everything. Fuck it. I'm just gonna lie about absolutely everything, and something's gonna stick. And that's what happens. Sometimes
he doesn't care what kind of attention he gets. He just wants attention. There's
that's
no
exactly
filter on it at all, and he can never get enough. Like I do astrology too, and I've seen his birth chart. He literally has a black hole.
Yeah.
On his sun.
Yeah.
Sucking in his soul, sucking in his ego. So it can never, to him, it never feels like he's seen enough. So he's been president and he wants to be president again. And he wants to be the best second term president ever. And even if he wins and does all that, it'll never be enough.
No.
That's sad. That's a sad, awful place to be. That's a lonely. As much as he's surrounded, that man is lonely.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like he's again, I'm not saying he's a good person. What I'm saying is just but that's what he does. And the people that prop him up the most are the people that hate him the most. Like it's fascinating. He's fascinating in the sense that he's figured out how to manipulate the people that hate him the most because they're the ones that prop him up the most, right? It's one of those things where I look at them and all. It's like, what are you doing, right?
He's a child who's been given attention and power.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. And the way to
so we got a child and a corpse running for president.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, kind of. And so the thing is, with the child, all you really have to do to frustrate him is acknowledge him and walk away. That's all you gotta do. It's like, yes, I'm the president. Yes, you are. And you keep going. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Right? That's how you do it. That is exactly how you deal with a guy like that. But that's not what people do. People will go off on their high horse, go, fuck Trump this, or Trump's a terrible human being and nobody can survive. And I'm looking, it's like, you guys are the worst. You are the literal worst people because you are building him a platform. Yeah. So if you don't want this guy, why the fuck are you talking about him? Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I really like Bobby Kennedy. Like, let's talk about him. Bobby Kennedy Jr., who has had nothing but integrity and a history of it. And, you know, he is the person that should be getting propped up. Because he's our best chance to actually, like, start to change the system from within without it having to be a bloodbath.
I don't see.
Because he's got the old money connections. He's got the old money connections, right?
Sure. That
to a degree,
that's not what I'm
going
with.
Hated, but
no. Well, no. So the thing is, he's still gonna have to make a deal with the devil. That's just the way it is. But he might be a deal where you walk away from the system, right? Because the reality of the situation.
FDR came in back in the day and was like, "Hey, listen, you idiots." Either you change or there's going to be a bloody revolution and nothing's going to be good for you. So start giving some more to the people. Let's build this country up. And you can still have your castles and your mansions and be living, you know, or we can keep going down this path and it will not end well for anybody.
Well, here's what's going to happen.
Because the president has the bully pulpit. The president has something that nobody else has. So he can affect that change if used correctly. It just hasn't been used correctly since FDR.
But FDR also had World War II in the background. You know what I mean? Like war today is not war then.
I was going to say, we have like 12 wars going on.
No. But war today is very much a business, right? It's very much a business. Like Ukraine is very much like it's the new Iraq. That is where R&D is going for all these weapons companies right now.
Yeah, beware the military-industrial complex. Right?
Yes, something that younger kids do not know that term, right? So we got that going on. So they're different. Like war is now a business, and it's been a business for a very, very long time, right? Like honestly, with the whole Ukraine thing, I'm looking at that and going, well, I mean, at some point they got to talk. Because that would quickly end the war, right? That would quickly end the war. You have to talk because Russia basically has their own interests. NATO has their own interests. You talk and no one dies. That would be the humane thing to do, but that's not going to happen. What's going to happen now is
psychopaths. Remember, psychopaths.
Oh yeah. For another 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, Zelensky is just as much a part of that as anything else. Like the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That is going to be Ukraine, right? And Ukraine's going to go through what Iraq went through, right? And I saw Iraq. So and the only difference now is it is no longer the U.S. military going into these places to do these industrial complex things. It is they have now outsourced it. Yeah. They've outsourced that. They've outsourced that. That's the thing. Yeah, right. So they've outsourced.
That is the military-industrial complex.
Oh, sure. But but there was a lot more. Like Vietnam was really the first example of this. Vietnam used real American troops, American people, and they died for years and years and years. And then it's gotten more sophisticated, where it's like no longer volunteer people; it's just regular military people. And now it's even past that point. There's still military involved, but it's now most of the fighting is now, and again, most of that fighting is now outsourced, right? Somebody else's family, somebody else's people are dying now. It doesn't matter the fact that people are still dying, right? But it's not us anymore, exactly. So now it's a sophisticated thing, and people don't like World War II was very much, we have to fight this war, right? We have to do this, or the Germans are going to take over everything. And if they take over everything, like, who knows what the fuck's going to come out of Europe in like 5-10 years. FDR had that galvanization as well. So there was an imperative to restore things, to build things up. And after the war, like America, like the middle class of America, like that was the one point in history where an American dollar was better than gold. Like that is America. America in the 50s was America at its most prosperous. And ever since then, we have been seeing the slow disintegration of wealth. Where we are right now is where America was in the 70s.
Wow.
I'd
say even worse.
but that's
because there's this cynicism, and rightfully earned. Like there's the 70s, there was maybe some sense that things could get better, and then you go into the 80s and it seemed that way, in the 90s and so on. Now I feel like there's, perhaps because we have the internet, and we can look and see how other people live in a way that you couldn't back in the 70s. Like you can see where there can be a better life, right?
Oh, it could very easily,
a better way.
The thing is, I think the thing that really gets me is that could happen tomorrow. Like that process could begin tomorrow. It's just a matter of just changing some focuses of where money is being used and funneled. Mm-hmm. But again, these are things that, as a society, that we have to be honest and call our leaders up front. Say, hey, listen, I don't care about your corporate buddies begging me for a handout. I want you to, I want these changes, right? And maybe help get people off the streets, help rebuild some of the roads. I bet you the U.S. military would love to help rebuild the infrastructure of the United States.
Oh yeah, it'd be a great.
They would be all for that. They'd be all for that. They would love that. They'll rebuild their country up from the ground up and make it a better place.
The individual troops would like that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's not profitable.
Oh, it is profitable. It's not as profitable, right? It's not the immediate cash grab that going to another country and fighting wars is, but there is definitely value in that. And honestly, in the long run, again, you have to rebuild the structure of the middle class in the United States to get the United States profitable again. That's like internally, no need for the external wars and stuff like that. That's what you have to do. And same in Canada. Canada is no different. Like I live in Calgary, like I said. So when I came back to Calgary this time around, there's a lot more people on the streets now here than there ever was when I left, right? So, and I've seen it. It's a lot more brutal. There are very few neighborhoods in this city where there isn't somebody homeless in. Like I'm in one of the very few I've seen. Yeah. Most places I go, if I'm riding the C train, if I'm in the city at all, somewhere now I'm going to see people on the street. Right? So that tells me right there and then that, and actually, I think for me, the one that blows me away here is City Hall. It's one of the worst areas for this is right there. Literally our City Hall. Right
outside. Yeah.
It's literally a block from it. There's a rehab center there. So you will see City Hall with all these people that are making ridiculous piles of money because they work for the city. And then right at the same spot, I mean, you can't even make this up. Right in the same spot, you have the poorest people. And you're looking at this and going, how does this work? Like, how does this be? Because it makes no sense, but here it is. right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I go every night. I have when I work, I side gig at the hockey arena, the NHL team, the Calgary Flames. So it's my side gig, and I end up actually going through City Hall to go home every night. So it's one of those I watch it every time I'm out there, and it's amazing to me, right? That this is going on right under people's eyes, ears, mouth, and no one bats an eye. No one. It's just like, wow, right?
It's
It's
something,
just
the statistic is something like 40 to 45% of homeless people have full-time jobs.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Which is just appalling.
Yeah, no. Again, these are like little, and these things, and all of this. And here's the thing: all of this is fixable. All of this is fixable. It's not impossible. It wouldn't happen overnight, but you could change it, right? You could change it. It's fixable. But you gotta, but again, people have to want to fix that. And a lot of people, right? And in this day and age, instead of wanting to fix those things, we have people going, hey, listen, Trump's an asshole. Hey, listen, Biden's a piece of shit. Oh, yeah, yeah. So they're fighting about that shit, which really doesn't matter, right? When they're looking at the fact that they're ignoring the fact that there are people out there with no infrastructure. Like the United States is even worse than here in some ways, because there's at least a bit of an infrastructure here. You got like far less, depending on the state you're in, and it's brutal, right?
Oh, you mean like healthcare and stuff, right? Yeah, no, we're
Not
under
just
the
healthcare, but just social programs, even, right? So
Mhm.
it's hard. It's like if you're poor in the United States, it is really hard to climb out. It's super hard.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And there's like some good individual pockets of programs to help people
Sure.
that are built up, but nothing on the scale that we need it. So
Well, I made myself a promise. If I ever really made it as an artist, author, podcaster, big mouth, son of a bitch that I am, I would actually, like, you know, seriously, I thought about this. I'd open up a soup kitchen. I'd pick a city somewhere and I'd open up a soup kitchen. And I can't like fix the world. Again, it's not about fixing the world's problems. It's about giving people a meal at a time, making them feel like a human being. Like
I would run around and help as many co-ops as possible open. I would do
Yeah.
whatever it took to be like, oh, this factory that makes whatever, here, let's throw some money, help you all own it. On to the next,
Yep.
so that we start getting this corrupt bullshit top down out of the way. Like, we need widgets and all the things that factories make to make the world go around, but they can be made with pride from people who are invested, right?
Sure.
So that way it's not
like
just the handout of the soup kitchen, which is great. Like, you definitely need that. It's not that it's a bad thing, but you start to build up the communities and have good paying jobs and like a hope for the future and a sense of pride in where you are and what, you know.
I totally. I totally agree. But what I would tell you is, I think everybody has their own personal cause. I faced starvation. I faced that when I lived in the States. So
yeah, it's kind
I
of
don't know
hard
what
to
that
do
feels
much of
like.
anything else when you're that hungry. I get it.
Yeah. So I understand that. So like that's a cause for me that I can put myself fully into. And I promise if I ever got to that point where I'm making stupidly good money as an artist, which, hey, that's you know, I'm doing better than a lot of people just doing my art stuff. So we'll see.
That you
But if I
still
ever hit
have
that
a
point,
soul left to be able to create, right? That right there.
oh
Is
no. Oh yeah, well it's not. It's
not everybody has.
Well, it's about what you want. Like the thing about this life is it's really about what you want to do with it. You're free. Like we have like the one thing about this world is this world wants to convince you that about what's realistic or not. None of that bullshit. Most of that bullshit isn't true. What's required is what do you want to do? And do you have the vision and toughness to see it through? Right? That's it. That sounds simple. It is simple. But that's what it comes down to. It doesn't come down to anything else. Right? Everything, there's so much in this life beyond your control. right? There's just so much. It's much better to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to do this any other way because fuck it. So I want to take my show on the road. There's something very interesting happen this week. We're going to see if that comes through. If it does, I hit my goal next month about what I need to get out of here. Right? I hit it immediately, which is crazy, which means I'm going to actually have a few extra months to prepare for when the spring hits to go, which is crazy to me. Right? If that works out that way. So again, and it's nothing. It's just me doing what I'm doing because I made a decision like this is how I'm going to do it. And fuck everything else because I don't want to do it any other way. Now, that doesn't mean I can't get better. I can't go to school. I can't do other things. I can't work on my craft in a myriad of ways. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm making a conscious decision of who I want to be. And then every day I do my best to be that person. Yeah. Some days I don't do it so good. Right? Some days I don't do so good. Yeah. Well, we all have that power. Mm-hmm. It's just most of us don't. Most of us get it beaten out of us. Right? Right? Most of it get beaten out of us. We give up that power. We give up that desire. We give up those dreams. And by the way, it's not like sometimes it works out for the better. Like, okay, my buddy that's living upstairs right now, he's a plumber. Right? Nothing wrong with that. He's happy with it. He loves what he does.
The world needs
plumbing. And that's that's not, but not like it's for him. It's perfect. He's a smart guy. He gets to use his problem solving skills in ways that he's like he enjoys, and he does something he feels he contributes to, and he makes a decent wage doing it.
Yeah,
that's what he wants. That's what he wants. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Right. So you have to again. It's about being honest about what you want. Right. Right. What do you want? Right. So everything you do should be a reflection of that somehow, some way, because whether you realize it or not, it is.
Yeah. Whether you think you can or you can't. You're right.
Yeah. That's it. And you're going to face hardships. Like, okay, but doing what I'm doing is not easy. You got to learn how to see it as a business. That's the thing. A lot of people get very foreign in arts. No, you can turn your art into a business model. And you need to if you want to actually make money doing it. And you got to realize, and you got to set standards for yourself about who you're dealing with, how you're dealing with it. There's a process to it. But you can do it. Right? It's not impossible for anybody to do that. But it's going to be hard. You're going to go through your ups and downs. You're going to have to make some change, like sacrifices, changes. You've got to go through some struggles. But if you're willing to do all those things, you'll get there.
Consistency. Right?
Yes.
And putting yourself out there. Right?
That's it. That's all it honestly really takes. But it's a process. It's slow. It doesn't feel like sometimes you're doing anything. You're like, what the fuck am I doing some days? Like I think that's everything in life. Like no matter what it is. It's like, right?
All of us humans, yes. We're like, what? I didn't sign up for this, did I?
Oh shit, I did. Right? Oh. And sometimes you did. Yeah, sometimes you did, right? Sometimes you did. It's like, oh shit, I did.
It's like, who created this character? Because I role play too. And sometimes I'm like,
yeah.
Sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, I'm exactly the kind of character I would have created. Like with all these weird flaws and merit slapped in there, and they work with and against each other in weird ways that I didn't foresee until I started playing. It's crap. Why did I make Constitution my dump stat?
Yeah, it's like, hey, it is what it is, right?
Hey, I've added to
I play Magic the Gathering. I play Magic the Gathering, right? So there's an art form. I build my own decks for Commander. That's what I play these days. But I still play the same style I've always played, a tricksy asshole, because that's not that different from the guy that plays, right? So, yeah, it's not that different. building another deck, it's something a little different than what I've done in the past, but it's not that different from what I've done in the past. So it's going to break people because I know who I am as a player. So I get this. Like, I understand who I am and who I'm not, and I don't try to be who I'm not. I try to be who I am. Right. The only difference is in my 40s. It's like I don't care necessarily about winning. I care more about having fun. Now sometimes I still win regardless, but I mean that's a bonus, not a.
See, that's why I like
requirement
role
at this
playing
point in my
games
life.
because it's
Yeah.
collaborative. There is no winning.
Yep.
You win by telling a
Yeah.
good story together, right? Rather
Oh,
than having
I
it
mean,
be
you
a
can die
conflict.
to well, you died to level 1 else on D&D. So I used to GM Shadowrun. Yeah, Shadowrun.
Mhm.
I GM Shadowrun. So I had this one character. We just started the campaign. His role was so bad. I actually could have just killed his character right there. We were literally like
But
10
there's
minutes into
things
the
far
game.
worse than death. There's things far worse
Oh
than death.
no. But he's done for the but he's done for the day, right? This is like we got a 3-hour session. We are like 20 minutes into it, and he's already like, I gotta think about this. Why? Because I have to punish you, right? But I could legitimately kill you. Like, I'd actually think about it for a minute because I didn't want him to die 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Right?
pain to
I
create
want
a
I
new
want it to get
character. This is my
right
character's
after
mother.
right after. Yeah, exactly. I've done that. Like, I've killed like one of my buddies actually made me kill his character. He just did it to see if he could, but he waited until the end of the session to do it because, again, at least you get your game in. Like, towards the end, if your character dies, whatever, it happens. But during the beginning of it, it's just like, oh wow, I could legitimately, like, it was bad. Like, his role was that terrible. It was just like, you can't be saved with edge. You can't even be saved this way. What the fuck do I do here? Right? So I had to think about it. It's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to break the rules. I actually broke the rules a little bit. It's like, you're out for this fight. Like, you're not getting out. That's too bad of an error to get you in this fight. I'll get you back in the next fight, but they're without you. You're going to be taking this round off. Then we're going to think about what you did or didn't
Think
do.
about look at your dice and have them think about what they did.
Exactly. So that's it, right? And role playing can be a lot of fun, but again, the whole thing about role playing is it's not about winning or losing the game, quote unquote, like you said, but it's about making sure everybody gets to have their moment in the sun. Mm-hmm. That was my whole that was my job as a GM. Let the players play with each other, have some fun, do their thing, and go with it.
I had somebody once triple botch in a vampire game, and I was like, oh, and it was like in the realm of the dead, basically. I was like, I could totally kill you, same thing. But what I ended up doing is having them go through a side adventure where they ended up having to fight their shadow self for control of their body.
Yep.
And they lost that little mini adventure that I ran them through. And so then the result had a flaw of being split personality. And every so often we had like rules in place for when this would happen. But in certain roles, in certain situations, their shadow side would completely take over and fuck them over. And so, and that particular player was very good at role playing that and sticking to it and being like, okay, I'm my shadow self now. What would I do to undo all the things that, you know, my character wanted to do? And that was just, that's that fate, both worse than death and better at the same time, you know.
So there's the game I was supposed to be the swordsmith. I would critically fail. No matter what I did, I would critically fail. They gave me the equipment so my sword wouldn't fall.
Spectacularly.
Oh no, I had all the stats to be awesome. My goals were so low as a sword guy that I should be critting naturally. Instead, I kept rolling 1s and 2s every time I went to do something with the character. It was just like, so finally.
Did you take your dice out and finesse them and buy them flowers?
No.
And like
no, 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 no,
candles.
no, 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 no. So this is what ended up happening. So I took a bow. I took an impossible shot, a natural 20. Took another bow shot, similarly, natural 20. Did another bow shot, it was like 18, 19. It's like, okay, that's who my character's supposed to be. So that was it. Like we moved away from the sword stuff, right? We moved away from the sword stuff, and we just
That
turned
is
my
really
character
interesting.
into an archer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, no, because here's the thing, right? Sometimes your team, right, and this is something I've learned was.
I think I've lost you. You're frozen. You are frozen in silence. Am I? No bueno. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Oh, I can
Am I
hear you
back?
now. Yeah.
Yep. I'm back.
Yep.
Guess who's back? So in role playing, there's this role you have as a role player, which is you got to figure out where you fit with your team, right? Sometimes, most of the time, I'm a supporting character. I don't need to be the main character doing the death dealing damage. I'm usually a supporting character of some kind. I ended up so exalted. I literally was they literally made me Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh,
So
the role playing game Exalted.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He gave me the stats that I could be Arm. So
that one brings me back. That was awesome. It was really
so yeah, no, it's really, really cool. But I literally could be Armstrong. I actually had troops that supported me. It was great. I actually had a lot of fun with that. But I wasn't the main like damage dealer. I could enhance everybody around me, but that was my role. My role was to help other people be better. So that's what I did, right? And you got to understand what your role is in your campaign. So what I found, like in that particular case, I wasn't going to be the sword guy. That just wasn't going to be me.
Hey, sometimes the dice do tell you. That's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's not just dice. It's just, again, just the nature of the game. You figure out, like, the challenge is sometimes to figure out your role. And once you figure out what that is, you do it to the nth degree. And that's what I learned to do, right? So, sometimes players will try to struggle to be a certain thing or try to figure out a certain thing. And sometimes it's not even that. It's just, okay, what's my role with this team? Right? Yeah. What's my role with the team? And that's something that I think as a good campaign, if you're a good player, realizes, like, you know what? Sometimes it's just me being the buddy. Sometimes I'm the lead. Sometimes I'm the bad guy. Sometimes, but whatever the case may be, I have a role. I have to play it. That's what makes role playing so much fun.
Yes. So speaking of that, my character in this book, or the main character in this book, comes from a game that I played called Silver Age Sentinels.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a really...
I'm not familiar with that game, no.
Like, it's over the top Silver Age of comics, right? So you can create a superhero.
Okay.
And in my experience, it's like one of the best, most versatile systems for creating anything that you want and balancing them out with merits and flaws. Just a great system. I highly recommend getting your hands on it if you can. I think White Wolf owns it now. But so this horror story, which I've changed her backstory to be different. Like, it's not the comics anymore, but like the base powers that she has that are horrified come from there. And we had a team in our group that just meshed together perfectly. We didn't talk about our characters beforehand. We just went into the first session with them made, and we worked beautifully together. Like, everybody clicked into place, which is rare, right? Usually you do have to try different things and be like, oh, well, we have a duplicate of this character or whatever. How do you want to specialize? That didn't happen. It was rare. But this book is actually the first in a series. And it's basically her backstory. So you are frozen again. in silence again. On my end, anyway. Damn it, Canada. Get your internet together.
Oh, there
Okay,
you go.
coming back in. All right. What?
Yep.
Okay. We just got a little
Am I here?
lag. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Just
good.
a little
good.
laggy. So
Yeah, no, it's the whole internet connection needs to be restored. It's the StreamYard flaw. I almost mentioned on Zoom because Zoom doesn't quite do this for me, but everyone like StreamYard's just been acting kind of bad today. So it is what it is.
It has its
I prefer Zoom because Zoom and Twitch don't get along very well. They're like evil brothers, just bump each other up and take their each other's lunch money. I don't.
Yeah, it's probably some little coding thing.
Yeah, it is. Is it right? It's like basically, I don't like you. You don't like me. I don't like you. I'm gonna beat you up and take your stuff. And I'm like, no, please don't do that. Please don't do that at all. Right? I like you ish. So, I shut down a couple applications, so hopefully it'll work better. Hopefully, we'll see. We will see. But,
so we're on Twitch too, right?
Correct.
Are there any comments or anything?
There's no comments today. So for my show, I have found that, I mean, I get the odd comment here and there for sure. I found that a lot of people watched it after the fact, not during. Mm-hmm. They would watch it after the fact, which is interesting how that worked out. I nearly have as many Twitch followers as I have YouTube followers, actually, which is also not something I anticipated would ever be the case. Right? Let's see. Right, we're going on right now. Christy Shin was my last guest, and she has like 10 views here. I've had people here. I have a guy up here with like 25 views. It really depends on the guest, right? And this isn't, again, I found that when I went to Twitch, that directly speaking, it never got me the result I looked for. Indirectly speaking, it helped my audio big time. And
it's a good community there.
Oh, it's a fantastic community there.
I have a friend who's really into it, and I've learned a little bit through him.
It's raw writers. Brandon Sanderson's on there. Pat Rothfuss is on there. A few other authors are on there too, like on a regular basis. It's a good environment. I'm on this is unofficially we're right now in I call the Twitch travel era of the show. I still do some episodes up close and personal. Right now, I haven't gotten full-fledged into them quite as much as I wanted to because I'm still in Calgary. But I'm setting up for that to be the regular thing, and I'm still doing episodes here and there in the city or abroad. Like I said, I've got some episodes in San Diego. I have something like 20 conversations already for the travel aspect of the show. So, like
that'll be so much fun.
Oh, it's gonna be a blast.
Traveling is just it's something I'd love to do.
Then go do it.
I feel like it's in my bones. I'm working on it.
You can go do it. Yeah. I'm very much this guy. Like I'm very much the guy. It's like we don't. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed ever. We don't have time. Like whether you realize it or not, we really don't have a ton of time. Which is why I encourage people to chase their happiness. Because if you're only here for a set amount of time, why would you do it being miserable?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
very good point.
Old and wise and shit like that. Sometimes.
Well, unless you believe in reincarnation, and then it's like, well, I'll just start all over again.
but see that doesn't work fully either. See, because what happens there is okay. Now, personally, I've oddly thought of reincarnation as a weird form of hell because I've already been through this once. Right? Why would I want to come back and do it again? Right?
Something to be said for the fact that we are in hell.
Yeah. There, you can make an argument. Yeah. We could make an interesting thought, right? So that's one aspect. The other one is simply this: even if, okay, let's say we do reincarnate, okay, I'm not the same person I'm going to be next time either. I'm going to be different because I'm going to have a different set of experiences, right? On top of the personality I've already had. So even if you do believe in reincarnation, you still only got one shot to be this version of yourself.
Yes.
Right? So either way, whatever way you want to look at it, right? So everything else is just, okay, Do you want to or don't you?
So
Right?
carpe diem. Go out there and gnaw the day. Right?
Yeah, seize the day, right? Seize the day, because this is it. Like, this is what we got. Like, look, I have decided that I wanted to write stories and have people tell theirs. Hence the show. Hence what I do. That's what I want. Now I want more than that now. I want to see people. I want to make connections to people. I want to go on stupid, crazy adventures. I'm going to make a million fucking mistakes over the next few years. Because if this is my midlife crisis, damn it, I'm going to seize it, and maybe somewhere along the way become a full-fledged supervillain, complete with obnoxiously long cape, right? So, right, I'll actually hire somebody to carry said obnoxiously long cape.
Yes.
Because I'm going for Spawn. I'm going for like the Spawn cape, right? That's what I'm going for.
Sentient level cape.
Not quite.
Look at the Silver Age Sentinels. They got
a
special item like that.
Yeah. So I don't want the sentient cape. I just want the length, the obnoxious length. Because you look at Spawn's cape, it's like, it looks so cool. How does he not trip? Like, legitimately. Like, I look at it, it's like, how do you not trip? Like,
he's Hell Spawn. He's
doesn't matter. Listen.
tripping all the time, then you just don't see it in the panels.
Hey, listen. I would pop Tom McFarlane. If you are listening to this somehow, somebody, you got to make Spawn be klutzy for just one episode. Stupid, obnoxious cape.
Yes.
Right. And then he has to hire somebody for it. Right. Just hold it until it's time for action. Right. When it's time for action, you got to go. It's like, because I can't vouch for your safety or anything like that. So that's the thing, right? So it looks cool, but it has zero practical applications. Zero.
I feel like it's probably happened at some point with all of the Spawn offshoots and how long that's been around. There's no way his cape was not taken over.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it was
something. Or
I'm
he
sure
pissed it off and used the wrong detergent on it.
I'm not like that's the thing, right? But you look at like Spawn, it's like, that's the most obnoxious thing I've ever seen. This is a guy that like has read Dr. Doom talking to himself in the third person. Like, seriously, right? Which is also just obnoxious for completely different reasons. Although when Dr. Doom does talk in the third person, and I grin like an idiot. It's just like, yeah. It's like, I can't take you seriously right this minute, but I don't care. It's awesome.
Some people have to do that to get their confidence up.
Oh, hey, listen. The Rock from
to remember that they are a person that matters too.
Exactly. No, I would go so far. I would go so far as to say, see, my favorite one of my favorite pro wrestlers in the Attitude Era was The Rock. The Rock always talked to himself in the third person. He did it as a constant thing, right? And the thing is, it was funny. It's really, really funny, right? So if someone takes yourself that seriously, it's just like, yeah, maybe, or that obnoxiously is great. So I like it. So I'm probably, like I said, when I turn 50, my goal is to be a supervillain, at least in terms of confidence and ambition. I think I'm halfway there, and I got to show results. So then I can show my master plan to take over the world. No, that'll be what I do in my 50s, because fuck it, why not?
Take over the world and open soup kitchens.
Yeah, exactly.
To burn people's tongues.
Maybe.
So, is that the master plan?
No. So I will no. I will get someone else to do the cooking. I'm actually an okay cook, but I'm not like a chef, right? No, my favorite my favorite so one of my favorite, like, early when I was reading as a teenager, was Piers Anthony's Xanth novels way back in the day. So in the very first one, there's Wicked King Trent. Okay. He won. So then he became Good King Trent. See, matter of perspective. He won. So he gets to write history.
He gets to rewrite, yeah. So
that's right. Now he actually isn't a bad character. Like, when you meet him in the story, he's not in Xanth. Xanth looks so mysteriously a lot like Florida. There's a reason for that, I'm sure. Right? That will not be named. But when he meets Trent's just trying to live his life in peace, and he's mourning his wife. And then he comes back to get back to Xanth. He gets all his powers back, and he was about to do his dastardly deeds, and then he tried to do the main character, and the main character's magic clicks in, and Trent realizes what it is. It's just like, okay, I can't mess with you. I'm just not going to mess with you. You're too dangerous. I'm not going to. I mean, like, his magic is not one of those overt things you see, But it's just like once you realize what it is, it's like I can't mess with you. No matter what I do to you, it's not gonna go well. So I'm not going to. But it was instead he asked him as a friend to help him. He goes to the castle, he takes over, and he becomes Good King Trent. And I was like, there's something to be said about that. And
go hack into Wikipedia.
Yeah.
You can change yourself to whatever you want.
Good King Josh. That's that. She's trying not to laugh. It's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
As you can tell, I have a healthy ego, but I don't take myself that seriously. So, right. So
it's a good place to be.
Yeah. Well, you need confidence. You do. At the end of the day,
and humor. Like
absolutely.
Oh, no subject off limits. But
all right, I by and large agree with that. Right, there are a couple things I would find distasteful to talk about, but by and large, it's just like whatever. I'm open. I'm pretty easygoing. So
Stephen King's dead baby joke.
Yeah, something like that. It's like it's like no. There's a reason. There's a reason you write stories. Although he actually does decent comedy when he wants to. So
I think the biggest joke of all is how he left that series go for a decade or something before getting back to it.
Dark Tower?
Like he left it on a cliffhanger and then just left it. I came into the whole series when it was done, but I heard the horror story.
You're lucky. I came in at book 4, the one right here when you went.
I can imagine. Oh, Lord. I got nothing to say though because I write pretty slow. So
honestly, like so. I understand the series intimidated him a little bit because he didn't know what he was doing in some of it. Although I would argue Wizard and Glass, the 4th book in the series, is the best thing he's ever written.
I liked how it was just sort of plodding along. It felt to me like a role-playing group. That's how I took it. It was actually my first King experience, really, my first full King
actually,
an odd way to come into it.
I came in with on writing, and that was my first fiction series from him. So, and then I read the Stand. I regret that because I read the unabridged version. I should have read the abridged. You
can't unread what you have read.
Yes,
there are some things in there. I was like, oh my god.
He got lost. Like I think if I ever got a chance to talk to him, it's like, did you get lost? Because
yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe. I don't know. I think he had this real idea of this battle between good and evil, and then in the middle, when he wasn't sure what to do, he says like, "How does society work?" And then he did that for about 600 pages. He's like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing, and well, join the club. No one does. So,
and the Stand kind of does read like a rambling apocalyptic story.
Yeah,
like, nobody knows what the hell is going on, and
the beginning.
You care about the characters, so like to me, that I'll go through anything if you can connect me to a character. Whatever.
That's true. I would say that the beginning of the Stand, the first 200 pages or so, are some of the best things I've ever written, and the ending is really good. The ending's fantastic, but everything in the middle, you're just like, oh my god.
Especially the extended with that 400-page or 450 or whatever that they added back in.
Yeah.
Like, mostly that was a good editing choice.
Yeah. Mostly that's that's what I read. It's like, hey, it's the author's edition. Oh God, did I make a
bad? I listened to the audio version. And it was like, it was good. Like it's still. I do recommend it especially if you're a King fan. You'll be slightly scarred.
The abridged. Go read the abridged version, folks. The abridged is really good. Like it's still a bit rambly, but nowhere near as bad. And it focuses on it's a lot tighter. That's my opinion. You can take my opinion any way you want to. On Writing is one of the best writing books I've ever read. Yeah. Doom McKee is a fantastic read. His short fiction, his novellas.
McKee, I have not actually read that one yet.
It's okay.
One of the few ones that I haven't gotten to. Most of them I have, but
his prose is some of the cleanest I've ever read. I don't always know if he's got the emotional beats fully nailed down to where they need to be, but hey man, I applaud him. Like in terms of skill, he's the man, and there's no doubt about it. Like, he's the man.
Really good at getting you to care about a character quickly. Like
yeah,
and that is definitely a skill.
But again, I love his novellas. His novellas, I think, are his best writing. Like whether it's Little Sisters of Illyria, which is fantastic, whether it's Shawshank Redemption, which is great. That is a fantastic short read. The Mist is super fun. Like he does those so well. Like if you give him about 100 pages to tell a story, just 100, that is legitimately the best Stephen King stuff I've ever read. All of it hits. Now, that said, I will admit Dark Tower is my personal favorite. Book 7 made me cry like a bitch at the end. It totally did. I'm not even going to lie. It's just like I got to the end and I was in tears. It's beautiful. Like that series is amazing. I've never felt that way reading any other fantasy series.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and I've read some good ones. Like Brandon Sanderson's fantastic. Robert Jordan's fantastic. Robert Jordan had a moment in the last book. Like Brandon wrote it, but there was a moment in there. It was just like, okay, I felt that. I really felt that. And and Robert Jordan wrote the last chapter. Like he didn't write. He wrote the first chapter in The Gathering Storm. He wrote the last chapter in Memory of Light. And in the middle, Brandon Sanderson did most of the heavy lifting, but Jordan wrote bits and pieces here and there. So it was very much Brandon trying to honor the series. Well, the last chapter with Rand's fate. Put a smile on my face. I'm not gonna say what happens. But
I've just started The Wheel of Time, the first book. I'm reading it with my daughter.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it. So here's what I'm going to tell you. The first 6 books are awesome. They are. All 6 of them, the first 6 are awesome. 7's okay. You're going to hate 8. You're going to love 9. You're going to hate 10.
See, now I got to get to 8 just to see.
Yeah, no, it just because it'll feel like nothing's happening. One very crucial thing happens in that book, but you won't know that until you get to the very end. And you will see it. Like you will read it, you'll be like, and then you get to book 9 and you'll be like, that's bad. Okay, this feels good. Book 10, he tried something different. He tried something very, very specific and different. I love the back half of book 10. But the front half, I was like, I get why you did it. I don't like it. But that was me. You might have a different opinion of it. Book 11's fantastic. It's the last full Jordan book. It is fantastic. I loved it. Book 12, which is the first Sanderson book, really good. Book 13.
How many times have you read The Wheel of Time?
The first 8 or 9, like a few about a half dozen times.
That seems to be a pretty,
no,
again thing to have reread it.
It's really because the thing that makes that series fantastic is it tends to everything matters. Even though he's written these big long tomes, a lot of these details come back in very interesting ways throughout the series, and they're cleverly done, right? And he although the murder mystery, and I'm not spoiling anything, the murder mystery will drive you nuts. Because book 5, you'll see it'll happen. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but you're going to see what happens. You're going to be like, well, who did that? And you won't find out. Like you won't. It drives you up the fucking wall. And just imagine. Okay, so the first 6 books he wrote almost yearly. Like that, considering how big some of those are, that's insane. Then books 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 11. Well, books 7, 8, 9, 10. It was every other year. So you're like, can we get to the read and find out? You son of a right, and then book 11 took a little longer, like 3 years. That's when he started getting sick, and then he never finished. He never could finish. There was a big pause from book 11 to the books of the series. I could tell he's coming near the end because when you read book 11, he starts wrapping stuff up. Some of the bigger plots start to get wrapped up. So you're saying, okay, yeah, he's setting up for the very end. But yeah, he never got to fully finish it. But he did write the last chapter, and the last chapter puts a smile on my face. Because it's actually it's the right ending for that character, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay,
it's the right ending.
Yeah, one of the reasons that I decided to look into this series is because I heard about the detail-oriented thing, and I love that too. Like, I put a ton of that into my book, like stuff that you have to actually be paying attention. This is not something that you can just pick up and slog through like a Harlequin novel.
Hey, I actually have a lot of,
but you'll miss a lot.
Yeah, well. See, I have a lot of respect. See, I actually have a lot of respect for romance novels. I do, because I recognize it's. Listen, making someone take a sock off and make that sexy is harder to do than it sounds. It really, really is. And
sexy time in this. By the way,
there's sexy time in this.
Got a few pretty good scenes, if I do say so myself. I've heard from readers who are like, "Oh, girl, whatever you do in book 2, make sure you put some steam in there."
Like, all right. So you got a good imagination for sexy time. Good to know.
Oh,
good. Yeah. No,
well, it's a story about the horror of love. In all of its forms, not just romantic, but
no, there's lots like
that's in there, right? And you can't really have love without sexy time, I think.
You can,
but it better be good sexy time.
Yes. If you don't turn things on, you've done something wrong, and if it's not fun, you've done something wrong too. So,
yes. Well, I worked very, very hard. Like, I did research on how to evoke certain emotions, and read different books, and was like, I like that, I don't like that.
See, for me, I figured this out with women a long time ago. It's about getting into their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true even when it comes to real intimacy and romance. It's about getting into their heads. If you can get in their heads,
foreplay starts for us at the end of the last orgasm.
Yeah.
And there's a gift from me to all of the men watching. Foreplay starts for women at the end of the last orgasm.
Actually, it can start even before that. It can start even before that. Really,
the next foreplay. So basically, it never stops.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, just something like get into a woman's head, and you will have a great time. That's the real secret. That is the real secret to it. Everything else is a bonus, right? But if you can get in their head, they're happy. If you can't, they're bored. You're not disagreeing with me. So
there's
yeah.
I think it probably depends a little bit on the woman.
Oh, a little bit, but
I'm not going to disagree. I'm very cerebral.
Well, it's just like, okay, obviously there's some physical things you got to do as well. I'm not going to lie, but it like, for the most part, right? Start in the head, then get to the physical stuff. Right? They'll appreciate that a lot more. If you do it the other way around,
gotta set mood.
Yeah. If you do it the other way around, they are not happy. They're not as happy as they could be, at least.
Well, and I've got teenagers in this one. It's a series progress as they get older, but I got an 18-year-old boy, and he lasts as long as an 18-year-old boy would last. Right? So that's one thing that I didn't sugarcoat. So it's hot and heavy for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, but it's a great, it's an amazing thing.
And I don't ever call attention to it, but it's there. And I've had savvy readers pick up on it and be like,
It happens. It happens. It is what it is, right?
Like 5 minutes later.
It's such a common thing. Even with adults, even with adult men too, because it depends, right? Like it's been a while for me, so I'm like, I pretty much know the first time is not probably going to be a very long time for whoever's next.
You got to marathon it. You got to work up.
Yeah, exactly. No, but at the same time, it's just like at the same time, I real like, again, there are other things you can do to kind of build yourself back up. So and that's. And even still to please your partner. So it's just.
Have you written any sexy times?
I've actually I figured out a long time ago. I had some girlfriends I've written stuff for. They tend to really like it because he's like, one gal went to me, he's like, you really know how to turn a woman on. It's like, thank you very much, right? So it's again, it's understanding. It's a little bit of understanding female anatomy, but more than that, it's understanding just how to get in their head. Once you do that, it's not so hard to please a woman. It's not. But but you got to go. But for most women, that's where you got to go. That's what I have found. So,
well, and that reminds me of being told to find North Harbor in Tarvalon. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the first time that I was told that, and he went and found a map, and I was like, oh,
yes.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
kind of book this is. And I'm reading it to my 9-year-old daughter, and I come across these passages.
But the thing is, it's subtle. It's really subtle.
It's really subtle, but like
right?
I pick up on it, and I'm like,
right?
Oh,
no,
find the White Tower in Tarvalon.
Yeah, exactly. No,
go there and do that.
Yeah, no, it's subtle. It's so subtle. And the thing is, so some of his dating history actually is in the book. I'm not going to spoil it. When you get the book too, because he actually did an interview about one of the big main relationships in the series, and it was based on his dating life. It's just like, that is such a fascinating thing that happened there. Wow. Right. So,
why not? Right.
Well, no, exactly. That's the thing, right? So there's a lot of him in those books. And all the women in the book remind him on, and he said this, are based somewhat on his wife, on different aspects of who she is. He would take different aspects of them and craft a woman character based on it. And he writes women very well. I actually think he does a really good job of it. My favorites from that series were, where are you, by the way? I should ask this question before I go deep into this.
Geez, I'm maybe about 3/4 of the way through the first book.
Okay, so so Nina Eve is one of my favorite characters in the entire series. All right, one of my favorite characters. Just her, yeah, I call her Nina Eve, right? So right, but yeah, that's but again, pronunciations, potatoes.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't fully hear you.
I enjoyed her a lot. I love her. Just how she is really fun. Egwene, I really like in the back half of the series. Like, what she becomes is amazing. Not so much the first half, but I also think that, again, like, everything has its time and their place. There's a character I thoroughly enjoy, but I can't really go into details now because it's too much of a spoiler. Okay. But there is one other, there's one other female character I thoroughly enjoy, and you don't see her till near the end of the series, sadly. But man, I love what you do with that. That's what I'm gonna say.
Well, I'll say that, like, when I first took this book. Oh, go ahead.
And to anyone listening to this, I'm keeping it vague. If you have read the series, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So,
right. Well, like, when I picked the series up or the first book, I should say, that opening passage that, like, he apparently added to it, with Edwene. I call her Edwene.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched the series, so I have no reference other than what I've read so far.
That's probably from what I've heard, it's better. I'm actually going to be watching the Wheel of Time. I have it on my thing. It's my first fantasy series. So, but I'm not expecting the television show to be anything.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to come at it from reading the series first, and then maybe I'll watch afterwards.
Yeah.
But it starts with Edwene, like, in the river and in the muck, right between her toes. And my daughter is very much a in the river, in the muck kind of girl, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, immediately she was like, who is this girl? I want to know more about her, right? And so you get this little, like, opening thing that's getting to know the town and how close they all are. And, like, I get it as an author, but, like, it got long-winded for her. And then she was like, okay, we're getting into the story. And then it's from Rand's point of view. She was like, felt gypped. Basically, as a girl coming in, she's like, well, when's Edwene coming back? You know, and she does eventually obviously come back in, but she's like a side character.
She is a side character.
Well, it is an odd choice to start it with Edwene.
The thing is, actually, she's a main character. I would actually go so far to say she actually is a main character.
But you don't get her POV.
Not until later in the series. You don't really start getting.
Does come back to her.
Oh, no. Like the first. Okay, so the thing you need to understand: the first 3 books in particular are very much. You gotta remember when he wrote them. He wrote them back in the late 80s, back when fantasy was still was coming out of Lord of the Rings, still very much a part of it. And his book was no different. So the first two are very Rand-centric in particular.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Right. The first two. The third book
from like her perspective. Like
no,
perspective of a 9-year-old who's never been into epic fantasy, you know.
Egwene really starts to get her perspective in the book 2. That's when her books, like, so when she starts. I'm not going to give away what happens to her. It's interesting, right? That's an interesting thing. Book 3 diverges. Rand is not in the third book very much at all, right? I'm not spoiling what happens, right? There's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that. And you get to see them expand Perrin, Matt, Egwene, Nina, Eve. Like, all these characters start to get expanded in book 2, but book 3, they really, really expanded. And then books 4, 5, and 6, which are my favorite books in the series. Like, still my favorite. He does it all. Like, all these characters get their moments in the sun. All these characters it evolves to that, right? But that's what I'm just saying. Like when the first book is very much a classic epic fantasy. Very much.
I like how he takes his time. Like, I personally really like that. Yeah, you know, we move slowly, but like for a young girl who wants action, she's holding on, but like she's like, okay.
If she can survive to the next book, she gets all the action in the world she could possibly want. Right. If she can hold on to the next book, this book very much is the beginning, and you see what happened. Again, it's very Rand-centric. This first book, and there's a reason for that. The second book is also very Rand-centric, but there's a reason for that. The third book is not very Rand-centric at all, and there's a reason for that.
I mean, and Rand is fine. Like,
no,
he's a fine character. She likes him.
But again, because of the nature of the caveat of the series, like what the series is like whole plot based on. Again, if I say it, I spoil it. So I'm gonna let you. So it has to be Rand for the first 2 books. There's a reason. And again, the second book, it starts to fly. It starts to freaking fly. Like when he actually goes out into the world a lot more, you get to see him on his own. Oh boy, right? Some of the things that happen to him are really, really interesting. And then, like I said, book 3, you should see all the other characters. Like, Matt's one of my favorite point of view characters in the series. He's one of my favorites.
He's mischievous.
No. Like, when you get to book 4 and when he becomes there, like I said, book 4 is a magic book. It's a magic book because Perrin, Matt, Egwene, Elaine, like some of these characters that you have seen previously really get fleshed out, like really, really get fleshed out. And you get to see who they actually are. Matt goes through a very amazing change in book 4. I'm not going to spoil it. So does Perrin to a lesser extent. And it's really, really well done. In the book, and then from that point on, it is about Rand, but it's not just about Rand. It's about all these characters get these stories, these arcs, these even some of the bad guys get some really cool point of view moments too. So you get this amazing tapestry of a world and seeing the impact of what's going on, how it affects everybody in so many different ways, right? And it's really, really well done, well thought out, and everything ties together. Like I said, it is a masterful work. Honestly,
I imagine, like, how many people love it. That sort of got my attention, and just the passion that the fan base.
Oh yeah, like I'm
trying to really check this out. But
and as you get,
I do have to get going though. I thought that this was going to be like a half hour.
Yeah. No.
So
no worries.
Somewhere along the line, I thought it was a half hour. I'm like, okay, I can do that, but I have to get to my daughter.
No,
getting ready for bed and all that stuff.
No, and you should. But before you do that, let's do the proper thing. First off, I hope you had fun. Yes. Second point. Yeah, if you do this again, just be warned. I have a big mouth. It's a gift. Third, remember I always talked about earlier about like promoting your stuff. This is the part you promote your stuff.
Okay. Well, I've already been over a little bit. You know,
So do the full
novel.
pitch. So do the full pitch.
And it's about an empath, or a girl who gets empathic abilities and the abilities to control other people's emotions, but it's more from a horror perspective, like what that does to her, what messing with people ends up backfiring and whatnot, and the different aspects of love in particular. Romantic love, as we talked about, but platonic, the love between her and her mother, and like what that means. And so I explore that over the course of the series. It's got sexy time in it. And horror, you know, it's not gory too much, but like there's a horror focus. So and then I've got this little red string novelette that kind of goes with it. It's adjacent to it, but it's more fast paced and fun, whereas this is more of a slow build.
Good horror.
And I'm working on the second book in terms of like also working on marketing, and you know, we went over all of that and all the different hats you have to wear as an author. But I'm writing book 2 right now, and you know, it's gotten a pretty good reception. I wrote it just to have the story out there, and the fact that people read it and like it and want more is like bonus gravy. You know, hey, if I ever hit the big time with it, I won't say no, you know, but my heart and soul went into it. So
that's good.
And people can find me at nikkidekeuster.com. I also host or co-host Basking in the Evergreen, which is the after show for the Green Room, where I talk with whoever didn't win the Green Room. Ah, there you go, nikkidekeuster.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also do developmental editing, so with Phoenix Feather Edits.
Exactly. So, and that will do it for this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know who's going to be in exactly next week. I got, like I said, folks, as I said on the show, I am reducing the number of Twitch streams I'm doing with interviews as I'm doing more real live ones. That's going to become more and more of a prevalence. But there will still be some, at least for the winter. I'm not going to say how many because I don't know. I'm changing the town towards a little bit more of a video game base, but we'll figure out what that actually looks like. So thank you, Nikki, for coming on my show. And to everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you next time.